What ended up actually happening was that it opened my eyes to the fact that was exactly what I was doing in my role as a teacher.
Wow.
I was forcing and coercing children to do things that they did not want to do, that they had no interest in, and that they had no real purpose for in their real life. And for me, that was the breaking point that I just said, I cannot continue to interact with children in ways that I now know to be abusive. But you have to just choose your heart and choose your heart that's in alignment with your beliefs and your values. In the example about my daughter and choosing to homeschool as a single mom, I had that story, right? That was a story
Yes.
that I told myself of course, as a teacher, I'd wanted to educate my own children, but my story was, oh, you can't homeschool if you're a single mom. You are capable of creating a life that you love with the people that you love.
Welcome to the She Elevates podcast. I'm your host, Liz Rakin, your favorite elevation bestie who's been through it, healed from it, and came back stronger with a mission. This podcast is your safe space and soul sanctuary, where we talk real about relationships, motherhood, money, mindset, and everything in between. So if you're ready to reclaim your power, reconnect your purpose, and rewrite your story, let's get into it. Angela Harder saw firsthand what most people don't want to admit, that schools can be toxic environments built on power and control, forcing children into submission instead of nurturing their true potential. As a teacher living inside that system, she felt the heavy weight of discipline that felt more like punishment, with fear running the show. She followed her intuition. She could not be a part of it anymore. She made a bold move, and she left and created what we know today as Pax Academy and Peaceful Worldschooling. They are thriving programs proving that education can be rooted in love and respect. It's not just possible, but it's powerful. Angela, welcome to She Elevates. I'm super excited to have you here. Your journey from being a public school teacher to becoming a world schooling advocate is both courageous and transformational. What was the moment that made you realize that you could no longer participate in the traditional education system?
Oh, that is a great question. I have had a lot of moments over my career as a teacher. I taught in the public school system for over a decade, and there were all these little things that happened along the way that really led me to discover that I could no longer continue to be a part of that system. But I think that the straw that broke the camel's back for me was actually when I was coming out of an abusive marriage. A friend of mine had shared with me a diagram, a photo of what's called the power and control wheel of domestic violence. And I'm not sure if your audience are familiar with this, but basically it's a circle and it has power and control in the center of the circle. And then there's all these different aspects that you can use to basically identify an abusive relationship. And my friend had shared this with me with the hopes that I could start to see that a lot of the problems I was encountering in my marriage weren't just normal newlywed problems, that it was something bigger than that. And
Absolutely.
some of the things that were on that power and control wheel, of course, it has power and control at the center because anytime that we see an abusive relationship, there's going to be power and control in the center of that relationship where someone's trying to have power or control over someone else. And then the other 8 aspects that go around it, some of those things were force, coercion, threats, manipulation, isolation, humiliation, emotional abuse, all these other things. And while my friend had shared this diagram with me, hoping that it opened my eyes to the reality of what was happening in my marriage, what ended up actually happening was that it opened my eyes to the fact that was exactly what I was doing in my role as a teacher.
Wow.
I was forcing and coercing children to do things that they did not want to do, that they had no interest in, and that they had no real purpose for in their real life. And for me, that was the breaking point that I just said, I cannot continue to interact with children in ways that I now know to be abusive.
Wow. That is eye-opening. I've thought about the issue separately. When I was in the relationship that I was in with the abuse and toxicity, I definitely realized control was a big piece of it. I never related it to the education system. Maybe, I don't know, a year ago when discovered you, and I've been following you along and I know it's likely in my future where I just pull my kids out of school and we do this whole world schooling. You are such an inspiration in everything that you're doing. I just love it. But yeah, being in that toxic relationship and not relating it to what I have been feeling about the school system, it's very eye-opening and something that I just never put the two concepts together. But I keep saying, wait, why is my daughter coming home and she's doing the homework and she's getting the correct answers, but the teacher's saying she's wrong because she didn't follow these exact steps? Or my kids are coming home and they're like, Mom, my feet, my legs were going numb. I had to sit crisscross applesauce. And I'm just like, I don't even like sitting at a desk all day. Like, why are you being forced to sit down, crisscross applesauce? There's no choice. It's all about control. And I think about like how that's led to my life now. Like, you have to get a 9 to 5 and you have to be stuck working for somebody else. And it's really frightening. It's really scary.
It is, and it's one of those things that once you start to see it, you can't unsee it anymore. And
Yeah.
I was in this really weird position where every day I was going to school and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing?" And I could start to see that force and that control everywhere. And you must walk in this straight line, and you have to sit
Yeah.
down and be quiet, and you have to do this assignment, and you can't color a pig this color, and
Yeah.
like all these things that it was like, "Oh, if you don't obey, I'm gonna move your thing to red and publicly humiliate you in front of all of your peers." Like, all of those kinds of things, and I was like,
So
"Why am I
crazy.
doing this?" Yeah, and it just so that was the beginning of the end for me, that I was like,
Wow.
"I don't interact with children in this way, and I don't want to interact with my own children in this way." I
Yeah.
really want my children to grow
Yeah.
up in a space where they're experiencing love and joy and peace and freedom and autonomy and respect and
Yeah.
trust
Yeah.
at the very beginning.
You're absolutely right. We're told for them to, hey, get creative in class, but then you're limited to just this. This is all you can use, but be yourself, be creative. And it's so conflicting to our children.
Where they
It's
get
just
punished for being
wild.
creative. I can't tell you how be doodling and the teacher be like, "Stop drawing, it's time for you to multiply." And the kids
Yeah.
drawing these amazing works of art on their paper, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what if this is like the next Leonardo da Vinci?"
Yeah.
Have that
Yeah.
in math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, I've just been going through this transition myself where I'm just like, I need to display like my children's artwork, their pieces. I'm tired of getting like this stuff from Amazon or Wayfair that's just like mass produced. I'm like,
Yeah.
when you really look at what they've done and like their little brains developing, and it's just so amazing to watch and how like they grow and you give them any type of canvas or whatever they want to do. It's just amazing to see what they can create. I love it.
Right. Yeah, and unschooling is just that, it's giving them the canvas of their life. What do you wanna create with your life?
Yeah. That's so beautiful. I love that. You've been through a lot. How do you take your pain and actually turn it into purpose? What is your mission today in growing this world schooling thing and creating an impact?
Oh gosh. How do you take pain and turn it into purpose? Honestly, I don't think that I could do that without my faith. Understanding that God has a plan and a purpose for everything that happens in our life and everything that happens to us. And one of the verses that I always hold dear is the verse that talks about that God works all things together for good for those who love
Yeah.
him and are called according to his purpose. And that is like so present for me all the time that no matter what happens in my life, how bad things might get, he's working even the darkest moments of my life and turning it for good. And
Yes.
I live my life through that lens. Everything
I
is
love that. Yeah. I can tell that really hits hard for you. I completely understand that. You've been through so many challenges and I couldn't agree more, like, faith has carried me through my worst moments. Yeah, I don't know how I would pull out if I just didn't turn to faith. Like, of course, there's doubts along the way, and you're like, "No, I'm a good person. Why is this happening to me?" It doesn't make sense at the time, but I swear if you give it time and you keep traveling along the path and you have that faith, like, it just turns into something beautiful. I've witnessed it too many times to be like, no, this time I'm throwing in the towel. I have no faith. I'm over it. You just wait. It's not our timing. It's not how we want it to go. But when you give it time and you see it blossom into something amazing, and then you create an impact for other people, Angela, like this is turning a really painful situation into something beautiful. And I commend you for that. It's just,
you.
it's the best thing ever. I love it. So,
It is the best.
congratulations.
Love it too. Thank you.
Yeah. And you get to do it with your 2 little ones, your 2 little humans. So, motherhood. Gotta say that you love it. And what does it mean to
Yeah.
you now that you've gone through all of this and the obstacles? What is it like with those two little free spirited humans running around?
I love being a mom. I was born to be a mom. And it's truly been like the greatest pleasure and joy of my life to experience the world again through the eyes of a child. I think it's such a cool gift that we're able to do.
Yeah.
But it's definitely been a growing and sanctifying experience for me because, of course, there are things that we have to let go of and grow in order to become the best version of ourselves that we can be for our kids. And so that has definitely been a challenging work over the years of letting go of a lot of these ideas of what I thought that it would mean to be a good mom or to be a Christian mom. And
Right.
from the very beginning, when my daughter was 18 months, that was when I started researching about things that for a lot of Christians are just so, like, normal, like spanking and things like that, that I just thought,
Yeah.
"What you do?" But it wasn't until my daughter turned 18 months that I really started investigating that and trying to say, "Okay, what does the Bible actually teach about spanking?" And the things that I uncovered about that topic were just it was shocking to me, and I realized that the Bible really doesn't teach that we should be spanking our children, and so that was the catalyst for me to publish my first book called Gospel-Based Parenting, where I talk about basically that, like, my journey into my studies about what does the Bible actually teach about discipline and discipling our children. And so that first book now has led to more than 20 books that I've published now.
Gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, but all of that is coming from being a mom and learning and growing up together with her and
Yeah.
now my son as well, and it's such a joy, I love it.
Yeah. And for you, that's such a gift because we're not taught like this is how it should go. This is what to get your child to obey. And then we have so many of these ideals that are put into us through our early childhood years. And as we grow and we're like, no, this is what we were taught. This is what we should do. And not even consciously, it's all subconsciously wired in our brains to be like, no, my parents spanked butts, so I'm spanking butts. And that's really hard to undo. That takes a lot of unlearning, a lot of awareness in yourself and doing the work to undo those patterns.
Absolutely, yeah. It does take a lot of work, but it is the most important work that we can really
Yeah.
question, like, why do I think the way that I think? Why do I try to behave in the way that I behave? Why do I respond in the way that I respond? And then
Yeah.
really asking ourselves, is this really who I want to be? Is this really the best version of me that I can give to my children and to the world? And yeah, so for me, it definitely doesn't look the way that I thought that it would. I thought that I would
Yeah.
thank my kids and do all those other things, but
Yeah.
I haven't. And yeah,
Yeah.
I've raised my children entirely without spanking and without punishments and things like that. And now we're unschoolers and experience
Yeah.
love and joy and peace in our education as well. And I'm very happy with the life that we've built and that we've created together.
Yeah. That's truly amazing. They say the generational impact of toxic relationships or being treated a certain way, it can go through 7 generations. So for you, Angela, to be like, no, this stops here, you are cleaning the lineage for the future generations. Like for you to be like, or your children are going to be like, my mother was the one who stopped this. What is inherently in us, we don't even know it. It's just built in from generation to generation and you stop that. That's an amazing thing to do. So
Thank
great job. And it's very hard. It's freaking hard. I go through the struggle myself. I'm like,
hard.
why am I raising my voice? Like for me, it's like, why do I raise my voice? I have to stop raising my voice. It gets us nowhere. And being more aware of that has allowed me to be like, okay, just like our kids are taught, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
We're going to take a deep breath, calm down, really evaluate like what is going on here. Eh,
Yeah. The raising the voice part is challenging for me too. My mom is Italian, and so we're just naturally
Oh, yeah.
loud anyway.
Yeah.
And yes, but letting go of the yelling, that can definitely be a challenge because again, it's something that we're just used to. Like when you get angry, you just yell and it's okay. No, if I want to teach my children to respond to anger in a different way, in a more constructive way, in a healthy way, then
Yeah.
I have to do the work myself to learn it. And I'm not perfect by any means, but even in the moments where I fail to be a peaceful parent or a gentle parent the way that I would want to be, even in those moments, modeling, like asking for forgiveness and apologizing when we've wronged someone, those are still valuable lessons that we can teach our children, even in the moments where it looks like we failed. There's moments
Yeah,
we can show them what restoration looks like and what grace and mercy looks
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's very humbling to say, you know what, mommy messed up.
like.
This is how I should have reacted to this situation. But it's also so healthy for them to see that. Like, we are all human beings and nobody is perfect,
Right.
which brings us back to our faith. No one is made perfect, but perfectly in God's eyes. And we all make mistakes.
Yep.
So I think we've talked a lot about peaceful. So this leads me to your peaceful world schoolers creating PAX Academy. So what does peaceful education look like for you now that you've nailed down peaceful motherhood and parenting?
Yeah. So when I started with discovering peaceful parenting and really asking myself the question, like, what does it look like to parent my children through the fruit of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control, right? Like me controlling
Yeah.
myself, not me controlling you. And then that question eventually, when she turned 5, then that led to that, the question you just asked me. What does it look like to educate my children, not just parent, but educate them through the fruit of the Spirit? And for me, it looks like unschooling. And most people have not heard of unschooling before, but I had not heard of unschooling 6 years ago. I had no idea what this term was. And I'm so thankful for the mom who shared about unschooling with me on a random Facebook post. But that's what my family and I do now. We educate our children through the fruit of the Spirit. We don't use curriculum. We don't use force or control or coercion or humiliation, isolation, any of those abusive tactics that we talked about. None of that is present in my children's life or education in any way. And so, yeah, that's what we do. And Peaceful World Schoolers is an organization that I started to be able to help support parents that want to educate their children with peace at the center of what they're building. And so we started out as a homeschool umbrella for families that live here in Maryland. And this year, we're actually growing and expanding to over 20 different states and 3 different countries. Yeah, it's been really amazing.
Congrats. That's
Thank you.
huge.
It is, yeah, so we do part of being a world schoolers that we want to view the world as our classroom, and
Right.
well, rather than I think people think about homeschooling of doing school at home, and that is not us. We are
That's
not
not the
doing school
case.
at home. No, not at all.
No,
We're
I see your post. You're all over the world doing
we
this
are.
with your kids and they're
Fun.
learning through that.
Yeah, yeah, we are. And the world part of it is I love that. We just got back from Italy. We're planning a trip to Guatemala in a couple weeks. We'll be going to Mexico in October, hitting a couple places in the Caribbean for December. And then we're taking a whole group also to Puerto Rico and Haiti in May. The international
Wow.
part, I love to travel. I've always
Yeah.
traveled. But the
Cool.
world schooling where you live, that was a big challenge for me during
Mhm.
realizing like being a world schooler doesn't mean I have to go to Italy and France and Thailand and all these other really elaborate places. Like I can be a world schooler in Maryland, in Silver
Yeah.
Spring. um,
Yeah,
that's what we do. Yeah.
totally. I love that. I love that. You must have connected with so many other families throughout the world. Like, what a gift to have those in your life. And you can meet with them right on Zoom and connect and learn about each other. Something you definitely can't get in a classroom.
No, for sure. The learning that children do by experiencing the real world is infinitely more valuable than
Yeah.
just pages on a textbook. When my children are able to say, we didn't just read a textbook and answer multiple choice questions about ancient Rome, we walked in the Colosseum. We walked through the streets of Pompeii. We had tours from expert historians that have been researching this. We visited archaeological sites and saw the real thing. It's a different level of knowledge and experience and understanding and growth when you're actually living it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it probably sticks so much more than reading it on a paper and having to memorize versus, no, I've lived it and I've been in it. And
Yeah,
that's just, it's life changing. It's life changing for children and as adults too.
it truly is, and I
So
know you
great.
get to travel as well too, so
I love to travel. So that just is wait, I have to do this world thing and sign up for I know your cruise is amazing. I just got back from Mexico with me and my partner. And then my daughters, of course, they're like, wait, why haven't you taken me? And I'm like, wait, Angela's going. So I'm gonna go with you.
Yeah,
It's so great.
Bring me
Uh,
never too early.
oh,
Travel with
yeah, yeah, we have passports ready, so
that.
gotta get the tickets. We're there.
Awesome.
All right, so you mentioned a phrase to me before we started here today, and you said that my story becomes my reality. That is super powerful. Do you want to explain what that means and how you help others rewrite their story, especially with the trauma that you've experienced, and where those words, my story becomes my reality, came from for you?
Yeah. I when we begin to really think and reflect on what happens in our life, I started seeing over and over that there are people who've been through really terrible things throughout the world, right? And you could take two different people that experienced two siblings, right? That live in the same home, that experienced maybe an abusive family growing up. And one of those siblings turns that abuse and trauma and they take that and they turn to drugs or alcohol or they turn into really self-destructive behaviors and depression and all of these other really like negative things, but that the other sibling in the same household experiencing the same abuse, they take that same situation and their response to that is totally different. Maybe
Yeah.
that sibling grows up and they turn that into advocacy and to trying to help other kids that are in abusive situations or turning whatever that terrible mess was that they came from, but the story that they tell themselves about that instance is what makes the difference, right?
Yeah.
So two people could be experiencing the same circumstances, so it's like being able to separate what happened versus the story that I tell myself about what happened, right? All of
Mhm.
us will have bad things that happen to us in life. It's just part of being human. There's bad stuff that happens. But
Right.
what is the story that I tell myself about this? Am I going to experience this bad thing and then tell myself I'm worthless or I'm not enough or this is going to destroy me or I'm a terrible person or whatever? What is the story that I'm going to tell myself about whatever happened? Or I could take that same instance of what happened
Yeah.
and then tell myself a different story that God is going to use this for good, or that
Yeah.
I believe that there's good that's going to come from this, or that God's going to use this to make a difference for someone else in the world, or that my story is going to help someone else, or that I'm stronger than my circumstances, or I'm braver than I knew I could be, or I'm more resilient than I ever thought. Like my circumstance hasn't changed, but my story about
Right.
it. And then eventually that story that you keep telling yourself over and over
Yeah.
just becomes your reality. And then you just live like that. And so that's how we see
Yeah.
people that live in these perpetual cycles of, oh, I'm not enough, or I'm never going to be rich, or I'm never going to have what I want, or I'm never going to whatever, or I'm depressed. There's a big difference between feeling an emotion and then claiming that emotion as your identity. Like for a long time, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety as a child. And there's a huge difference between saying I'm depressed versus saying I feel depressed or I feel sad.
Right.
And so things like that is just like the language that we use and the story that we
Mhm.
tell ourselves is so powerful. And the being aware of the fact, like, what is the story that I'm telling myself about this circumstance in my life? Am I okay with that story? Do I like that story? And knowing I have the power to change that story.
You could change that story. Wow. Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. I think that was a big part of my healing process too. What did I do to deserve this? Or I've been in a 15-year relationship. I have 4 kids. I'm a single mom. I am a failure. So then all the negative things come into your mind. And you're like, I'll never meet anyone who's going to want a woman with 4 kids. I'll never be able to be successful financially because I'm a single mom, and statistics say that's not in the cards for me. Another thing was I was so scared about my children because they say children of broken households are less likely to be successful. And I was just like, I told myself, like, this will not be our truth. This is not the way that this is going to turn out. Like, it's going to be amazing. I don't know if you're guilty of this, but I give my children positive affirmations all the time. Like, they will go out, and my girlfriend, she told me the other day, she's like, I walked into my 4-year-old's room and she was saying, I'm beautiful. I'm amazing. I'm gorgeous. She said, I'm pretty sure that came from one of your kids. And I was like, yeah, guilty. That was definitely one of mine. So
Ah,
it's contagious, right? Like other people feel that energy with you, and then
it is.
you can rewrite their story as well just by
Right.
living with you
That's
and
so
through
true.
you.
And the affirmations that you give to your children, it's really powerful when you get that, like, my words are creating their world.
How
Things that I'm
scary.
saying are going to create her world and her story, and then that's going to become her reality. And so when you speak those affirmations to your children that like you're beautiful and you're strong and you're brave and you can learn anything you want and you can accomplish anything that you set your mind and your heart to, all of those things, like that becomes the story that they tell themselves rather than a lot of these negative things that so many children unfortunately grow up with.
Yeah.
Our words are
Yeah.
powerful. And you'll hear my kids
Yeah.
say you that they're like, your words have power.
Yeah. Mine, a lot of times my kids will be doing something like, this is too heavy, or I can't get my bike out of the fence. The gate is locked. I can't open it. And they're like struggling. They're asking for help. Number one, I never help them on the first time, because if they get it at the second or third time, the confidence that builds in them, I'm like, see, you just did it. I'm basically taking that away from them by helping them the very first time. So number one, I never help them the first time. I'm just like, oh, I'm too busy, or I'm in the middle of something, like acting like I, I'm the slowest mom. I can't get somewhere quickly. But also, I just say, and I like if they're like saying, I can't lift up my bike, it's too heavy. You say, and I can do hard things, and I can do hard things, and I
I
can do
love
hard things.
that.
I just drill it into them, and then they get the bike off the ground. Like, so yeah, they can do
They're
hard
the
things.
reality. Yes, I had a friend one time. We were sitting at her house and hanging out and talking. She just had a baby and two other kids, and they were fighting in the other room. They came over to her and were like, Mom, just how siblings do. Mom, so and so said this, or he took my, I can't remember what it was. She just looked at them so calmly and confidently and said, Thank you for sharing that with me. That sounds like a problem you can fix. And I was just like, wait a minute, you're not going to step in and try to fix their problems for them? But that moment was so profound for me. What an empowering sentence to be able to tell your children,
Yep.
that sounds like a problem you can fix. And
Yeah.
they did. They went off and fixed it. And I was like, wow, teaching them conflict resolution, stepping out, like by giving them
Yeah.
space where like, you can do this. You can figure out how to resolve that problem that you're having, just like how you did. You can do hard
Right.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. I was at a real estate investing conference, and they were like, one of the key things they drilled into us is we are problem solvers. Okay, you buy the wrong property, the wrong deal, but you pivot and do it a different way. Say you bought it as a rental, but now you're going to sell it. Like, being a problem solver will basically solve all your problems, if that makes sense. Basically, you won't be
Yes.
stuck in a property that's not going to be successful. Or if someone is trying to get rid of their property, they were like, you are the problem solver. You are the problem solver that's going to figure out how to make that property successful. And I took that home with me when I was around my kids. I was like, wait, they are problem solvers. And that's one of the number one skills like you can have today, is to be a problem solver. Figure things out, get creative, figure out how this can work. A lot of things we're like so stuck in these boxes where we're like, no, like with the math problem, there's only one way you can get to the solution,
Right.
which I want to undo that so badly. There is so many different ways. And
Yeah.
it's not just what is taught in school. Get creative. You are a problem solver. How do you figure this out? So that's
Right.
one of the things I tell them now. Like, I am a problem solver. Go figure it out.
I love that. I'm going to use that with my kids.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a problem solver. I can do hard things. That's such a cool.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
But you're right. All of that whole idea that there's one right answer to solve a problem, that comes from our indoctrination from school. And that was another big piece. I'm like, I would see my students in school and there was zero resourcefulness. If there was a
Yeah.
problem, they were like, I can't solve this problem. I need the
Yeah.
teacher to tell me step by step what to do and how to do it. And I was like, oh no, you guys are 15, 16, 17 years old. You
Yeah.
need to learn how to solve problems. You need to learn how to be resourceful and get
Yeah.
your answers. Like, you cannot be depending on a teacher to tell you what to do and how to do it all the time. And I see that with homeschooling parents is like when homeschooling parents try to do school at home, they run into that
Mm.
problem of
Yeah. That was me.
and so it's hard to let go and hold that space for our kids to be able to say, there is not one right answer to all the things.
Yeah.
Can think creatively and think of a problem that maybe isn't conventional or normal. Like, that only comes from giving them that space to do the work themselves, to be creative on their own,
Yeah.
out trying to like control and direct how they do things.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. When my oldest, when she was in kindergarten, she's now going in the 5th grade, which is crazy.
Oh,
But I didn't like the stuff that was happening in the school system, the way the teacher was treating her, the things that they would say to her. And I think like what we talked about with words of affirmation and things like that. Imagine your child's teacher having trauma and they haven't healed that or dealt with that. And then my child is around them 6, 7 hours a day. Like, how scary is that, that they are now learning their trauma and their way of handling things? And Not that I want control over everything, but as a parent, like that's super scary to think that I've healed myself and I've taken the time to do what I need. And
Yeah.
I feel like no one will ever be like completely healed. It's a learning pattern throughout life, and new obstacles will come up and we learn. There's a lot of people that don't have that growth mindset to continue to work on yourself and improve yourself and humble yourself when they do the wrong thing. And how scary is that for like schools to have that affect our children growing up? And I know you talk a lot about these toxic systems. How can those break the cycle when we're putting them in school and we're not able to control what kind of generational trauma the teachers, the staff, the anyone who's really around our kids at school? It's so scary.
Yeah, I mean, that really is my entire question to parents everywhere
Yeah.
is, and one of the reasons why I wrote my book after I left teaching, I published a book called Tales of a Toxic Teacher, Exposing the Cycles of Abuse Within Our Schools. And the purpose of that book was to share, here's the power and control wheel. I made a power and control wheel for toxic teachers.
Yeah.
And I showed this is literally everything that they say about domestic violence and abusive relationships. And this is literally the exact same thing that we're doing in classrooms every single day. And you could have the best teacher in the world. Like I always tried to be the best. But the
Yeah.
system, the whole dynamic of the way that schools function can only function through abuse and through power and control over children. And it's one of those things that's once you start to see it, you can't unsee it. And I've had people say it's important that kids can go to school because bullying is a part of life. Like they have to get used to bullying and they have to get used to dealing with their peers and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we wouldn't say that about anything else. Like in a
Yeah.
situation where someone is being like abused, we would
Right.
never like if my best friend was in an abusive marriage or like
Mm.
going in some sort of like an abusive situation, I would be like, get out of that. Like, why are
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
staying?
Yeah. Exactly.
But with school, we're like, oh no, this is just they have to. And it's I'm not gonna starve my children just because there's children that are starving in the world. I'm not going to intentionally put
Yeah.
children in places that are intrinsically abusive and toxic just so that they can experience like the trauma that everyone else is experiencing. I'm like, no.
Right. Go
But
backwards.
that's the question. Like, why? Why would we continue to put our children in environments that we know to be toxic and abusive and harmful?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I just think from a parent who does have their kids in school, for me, if I wouldn't be following you, Angela, like where would I get that awareness from? Except for just over time when I see things happen and I'm not happy with it, and then I try to deal with it and I'm not getting things done that how they should be or taken care of, and they're just sweeping stuff under the rug. Yeah, it's so scary. And
Right. My own daughter went to school. So I hope that in what I'm saying that you don't feel judged or condemned or anything like
yeah, I get that.
that.
Yeah.
My daughter attended a public pre-K for a couple months and her teacher was screaming at her, would drag her to timeout. It was just her teacher had her own issues to deal with. It was my daughter's life and affecting really negatively.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we didn't even finish out pre-K. I was like, we're just not going to do this anymore. Like, you don't need to
Yeah.
around someone who's screaming at you because that's not something that we're trying to do in our home.
Yeah.
But how does the average parent know this? I think it's really challenging. It's like one of those things that once then you can take action to deal with it. But
Yeah.
if we don't understand the problem and the danger or the risk or the harm that could be involved, then it's just kind of, okay, this is what everyone else is doing. So this is just what we
Yeah.
do. And of course, I know that not everyone has the ability to be home with their children full time. Obviously, like I'm also a single mom, and it's not easy to be a homeschooling single mom. But if you are out there, whoever's listening, if you are out there and you have a desire to be home with your children and to create a different life for them, I want you to know like you have the power to create the life that you love. And you really do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's challenging. It will require sacrifice. Like I tell everyone, you have to choose your heart. Like it's hard for me to send my daughter to school. It was hard for me to see her coming home crying every day. It was hard for us to wake up early in the morning and rush out
Yeah.
and like all of it was hard for me to hear her come back and telling me about how the kids were saying curse words and calling her names.
Yeah.
That was hard for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
also hard to like be a homeschooling mom and figure
Yeah.
out how I
Yes.
can have an income without a normal job.
Right.
And so at
Right.
the end of the day, whatever you choose is going to be hard. But you have to just choose your heart and choose your heart that's in alignment with your beliefs and your values.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
be consistent in what you're committed to. And if you're really committed to creating a life that you love with your children that is avoiding these kind of toxic and abusive cycles, then the first step is like recognizing, okay, this is how toxic
Yeah.
abuse cycles show up. And then I'm
Yes.
not going to do that. So now what does that look like for us?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm going to leave Angela's, all her social media links in the description of this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, everywhere so that everyone can follow you along because it's really eye opening. Every time I hear from you, Angela, I learn bits and pieces more and more. That's really, it's been in my heart forever. You're just making it more aware of. Also, you're confirming, like, okay, you're not crazy for feeling this way because with society has these beliefs and they're very hard to go against. They're like, no, this is the right way. It's showing through like schools and rating systems and all of this. And I'm just like, okay, but who created that? And who's to say that you're right about this? Like, it's truly insane. When I look at the big picture and ratings and everything, I'm like, I don't care about the ratings. Do you love my children as human beings? And are they getting what they need from here? If not, like you said, like you can build your life. You have to make what is your priority to you. You will find a way to make that happen if that is your priority.
Absolutely.
And if that means like you're going to have to leave your job or you're going to have to pick up multiple shifts somewhere else or you're going to have to move in with family to be able to do it, like these are options. You have to just choose if that's the option that you're going to take. But anybody can do that. Anybody can find another mother or a parent that is like willing to take this lifestyle and you guys can move in together. There's definitely ways to do it.
Yeah, we're starting a care swap actually here in
Yeah.
Maryland where like moms are able to volunteer basically to swap caring for other people's kids so that way we can work and
Yeah.
moms are welcome to stay and work if they want to or they can drop off and it's like a 4-hour chunk of time that you have free childcare with people that understand our
Yes.
values and are committed to like non-punitive parenting
Yeah.
and yeah, so that's going to be starting. If you live in Maryland and you're interested in learning more about that, feel free to reach out.
Yes.
I actually just we're going to be having a meeting about that tomorrow actually.
I just registered. I'm
Oh,
super
yay.
excited to be there. Yeah. I got your email and I was like, okay, I'm there. Let's do this. This is so great.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think
so there
that
are
just
options.
shows, yeah. And that shows how important community support is and us coming together. More people live their truth and they're like, no, this is what I'm feeling. That group will grow and grow. And you've proven that with everything that you've done.
Yeah.
So,
Truly, it's only by the grace of God and through all these other amazing moms that have been a part of the
yeah.
movement that are like, we're going to do things different and we're taking our life back and we're going to create and build the village that we want and that we need. And they're doing it, which is really cool. So I hope it's something that will long outlive me.
Yeah. I love that. It's such an impact. All right. Let's shift a little bit to your mindset. You had mentioned that you live by your commitments rather than your circumstances. Can you share a little bit more about what that belief means to you?
Yeah. In the example about my daughter and choosing to homeschool as a single mom, I had that story, right? That was a story that I
Yes.
told myself was, of course, as a teacher, I'd wanted to educate my own children, but my story was, oh, you can't homeschool if you're a single mom. I have to work. It's
Right.
just the way life is. And
Yeah.
but when I really started understanding the dynamics of power and control within the school system, I was like, okay, no, if I say that I'm committed to my children growing up in an environment that fosters the fruit of the spirit, love, joy, peace, all those other things that we mentioned. How can I do that and put them in an environment that I know is going to be the exact opposite of that?
Yeah.
I can't.
Mhm.
So now the question is, okay, if I'm going to live based on my convictions rather than my circumstances, now the question becomes, how can I make this possible for us? And I've done a lot of different things over the years to be able to homeschool as a single mom. At the very beginning, I was teaching in the public school system. And so I actually paid for a nanny to come to my home and take care of my children while I was working full time outside of the home. That was how we started.
Yeah.
I still wasn't quite ready to let go of the steady paycheck of the system. That
It's
was
so
hard.
hard.
Yes, as an entrepreneur, it's hard. Uh,
Yeah.
and then after that, when everything with COVID happened, I was like, this is not okay. This is not an environment that I can continue to be a part of. Well, I quit and then that next year I actually started like taking care of other people's children. So I kind of started a business in my home where I was taking care of other people's children that wanted to homeschool, but they had to work full time outside of the home. And
Sure.
I was really helpful. I did that for a couple of years. And then as my daughter got older, she was like, Mom, I'm tired of having other kids in our house all the time and playing with toys. She was like, "Can it just be us for a little bit?" And
Oh,
again, like taking into consideration her wants and her needs and her values out of respect for her too, because she's a part of creating the home and the life that
yeah.
we want. And so when
Right.
she said that she didn't really want to do that anymore, I was like, okay, let's pivot and see what else we can do because this isn't
I
working.
love
So
that.
out of that, I started Peaceful Worldschoolers and PAX Academy. And yeah, for like the first couple years, I like did not take a salary. I was living extremely frugally. I live at my mom's house. That was again another sacrifice
Yeah.
I chose to make. I rented out a house that I own instead of me actually living in the house and having the independent adult life that,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. It's overrated anyway.
it is, but for me, it's more valuable to be able to be home with my
Yeah.
parents, save money. We're able to live really simply and live this life that we want because I don't have the pressure
Yeah.
of this ginormous mortgage. In fact, someone else is paying my mortgage, which is great. And so making some kind of shifts and changes like that has been really helpful for us too. You can find a way to
Yeah.
create the life that you want and to build the life that you want to have. My trip to France, that was fully paid for by a company that was doing a training for teachers. I was able to do that.
Sure.
Yeah. Our cruise to Mexico, we did a week-long cruise in Mexico that was free because of PAX Academy. It's just there are ways, it's possible. You can find a way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so great. I love that. That's so cool. Resources out there, you just never had to really search for them when you had the full-time job. You're like, there was no need for it to figure it out. But once you're like, no, this is it. I can't live like this anymore. I want to live in my truth, the way that I see life is supposed to go. And it's interesting. We talk about living with parents. I actually have another woman that's going to come on the podcast, and they have 4 generations living in the household. But her story is amazing. And like they're able to do so much because you've got the support there. You're able to save financially. You're able to work with others a lot better, like
Right.
problem solving, and you're learning so much from each other. And I don't know. To me, I'm like, that makes sense because I think this concept of being in a village versus everyone needs to own their own home and be secluded and alone. I'm like,
I know.
yeah, that's why it's like an epidemic that loneliness is a problem. Like, loneliness is certainly a problem. It causes all these diseases and health concerns, and people are just medicating, numbing themselves out. But if we had others to really lean on and be in your household, like at your fingertips 24/7, not, oh, I don't want to call so and bother them. Like, they're living around you, they see what's going on, and you can lean on them.
It's a blessing for everyone. Like my children
Yeah.
grandparents. My mom gets to
Yeah.
stay young by trying to keep up with these little kids running around.
Yeah.
And my best friend also, she lives with us as well. And so it's so nice, like for me too, because I'm able to have another adult that's like my age,
Yeah.
my best friend who can share with me,
Cool.
share life with me, and she helps with the kids. And they view her like a second mom.
Yeah.
And yeah, like she's actually watching them now so that I can do this podcast
Yeah.
interview. And
Right.
it just helps. It's like you have this community in this village of people that are working together, and I don't have to bear the burden all by myself, but it really
Wow.
does require a lot to build a community. You have to really be intentional to create the community
Yeah.
that you want so that you can create the life you
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. It's absolutely true. Let's get into spirituality. I'm curious, Angela, what daily spiritual practices or different things that you do that you lean on to get through your day?
in regards to spirituality, there are several practices that I have. Prayer is something that's really important to me. And another thing that also is really important to me that we've actually started recently is actually reading the Bible with my children. And we've been reading the Bible through the book of John. And my oldest daughter, she's 11, my son is 6. And it's been a really interesting experience, like actually reading the real Bible. Like, I think growing up,
Yeah.
my parents would get us, like, devotionals and things like that, but we didn't really have the habit of actually reading the Word of God together. And,
Yeah.
yeah, so reading the Word of God, like, the actual straight Word of God from the Word of God, um,
Yes.
with my kids, that's been really cool. We're taking our time going through it, so we're, like, 5 or 6 chapters in now. But that's been a really beautiful experience for me to read the Bible with my children, even though they're young.
Wow.
And then worship. I love worship music and being able to just have time either like alone or
Yeah.
sometimes it's like in the shower even that I'm like, okay, I need to just put worship music on and do that,
Yeah.
or in the car or something like that is really helpful too. It can be hard to set aside time to really be intentional, but it's definitely been something that I feel like God has been convicting me about recently. Is just anytime you're starting a new business, it requires a lot of work, and I'm running like 2 different nonprofits. It's a lot
That's
of
a lot of work, Angela.
our organization has grown really quickly over the last 2, 3 years, and so it can be challenging to set aside time to just be still and to be quiet and to focus
Yeah.
on being intentional and being with the Lord rather than just waking up and, "Okay, I've gotta work and I have to answer all these emails and I have to do all these phone calls and I have all these
Right.
meetings."
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that is something that I definitely need to work on and I want to improve it, of being able to realize my strength ultimately comes from the Lord. I don't want to do
Mm.
this just trying to spin my own wheels in my own strength, and
Sure. Yep.
to rest and understand there is value in resting
Yeah.
and taking time to be still and be quiet and to just pray. Yeah, so those are like our habits that we have as a family. Like we pray regularly, like for one another, with one another.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
That's beautiful.
taking some of the time is a challenge for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. We definitely bedtime routine is like our prayer time, and that's probably because as a child, that's what we did. Mine is more so throughout the day as needed. My children will even hear me pray out loud, especially in struggling moments as a mom. I'm just like, "Dear God, da, 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 da." Or even when I'm thankful, I'm like, "Wow, thank you so much." Just praising God as much as I can. But I always give them an opportunity at night. We go around the circle with my 4 daughters, and they say something they're grateful for, thankful for, something that they feel blessed about the next day, and it's amazing to hear them say it through their own voices, how they perceive the world, how they see it, how they see God, and
Yeah,
for them to build that relationship with God themselves.
yeah.
To
It is a really beautiful thing to watch our children. I think that's growing up, there's so much pressure of being a Christian and what does that look like? And it's been a really beautiful thing to trust that God can handle his relationship with my kids. Even in that,
Yeah.
like, I don't have to feel like I have to control and manipulate and force and coerce like their relationship with God, but
Yeah.
that's something that
Right.
God can handle. That's God can
Yeah.
handle.
Yeah.
And I can model and I can show what it looks like to have a relationship with God and to be someone who lives with faith and with hope, relying on Him. But ultimately, at the end of the day, like I can't control their faith. That's something
Sure.
that the Holy Spirit has to do. And I cannot do
Yes.
that. And I can trust Him to be faithful with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And they see you living it, like being it. So I think that speaks volumes more so than even them hearing mom pray or mom doing this. Like they see the light that you shine throughout your day and what you do, your passions, and how you impact others.
So,
That's all your faith. So they see that. And you have built something incredible, Angela. You provide education, you provide global opportunities to families who might not have these opportunities. So, what are you excited about right now with PEX Academy and Peaceful World Schoolers? Is there any specific things that you're looking forward to?
yes. There's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to. When most people start a private school, they'll start with maybe 10 students or something. You normally start small and then you grow.
Yeah.
Um, but in Peaceful World Schoolers now, we have over 1,000 students in 2
Gosh.
years, and in
Great.
Academy, we're, like, at 900 now, and
Wow.
yeah, and it's
So great.
been 2 years, and so just to see, like, in 2 years, we've gone from nothing, something that didn't exist, to now it's like this international movement of families and parents that are re-envisioning what their life could look like and what a
Yeah.
life would look like, experiencing freedom and joy, and I love, like, getting messages from parents that are like, "Thank you so much for making that TikTok or for sharing that video on YouTube or Instagram or whatever," and they're like, "My child is, like, a totally different person now that I took them out of school, and we're
Yeah.
experiencing this totally different life than what we ever even dreamed was possible." And so, yeah, getting all those I get hundreds of messages every day from
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
just it's so encouraging and empowering, and so I'm excited to see. this movement grow and this awakening, both in the English speaking community, but another kind of surprise for me is I also speak Spanish. And so a huge part of our population is also Spanish speakers. And so seeing that happening within the Hispanic community has been really a gift for me, because for a long time growing up, I wanted to be a missionary in Latin America and live in Guatemala and live in an orphanage there. And that was like my dream when I was little, and I just prayed that God would give me the opportunity to make an impact, a positive impact with the Hispanic community. And now I can. It's just different than what I thought it would be.
Yeah. Wow, how full circle that went. I feel like I'm tearing up over here. That's so beautiful. Like, God will create the path. It's not Angela's path. It's not what you decide. It's what God has envisioned for you. And it's like, there's the ups and downs that you have to go through to get there. And we're like, why? Why are you doing this to me? Why? But you're getting to where you ultimately wanted to be in such an impactful way. Like, such an impactful way. And maybe it didn't look like exactly what you envisioned, or maybe it's even bigger than that down the line. Like, maybe you were only going to impact one little town or one little building there, but now look at what you've grown. It might affect many countries and make the impact in so many different ways that you never even imagined as a little girl.
It is. It's incredible. Truly, it's incredible to see. And it is only by the grace of God. I'm one person. I'm one mom. And to be able to see how God has just used my voice to be able to carry through social media and through podcasts like this, to be able to reach other people and have my words somehow make a positive impact for someone, is such a gift and a blessing for me. But I truly do see like the ripple effect of what we're doing. Like that, by breaking these cycles and doing things differently and re-envisioning what life could be like as a family, that's going to have an impact for generations to come. And so it's just a part of.
Yeah. So I'm totally getting off these interview questions because I want to know what would you tell a parent who's like on the fence right now and they're like, I've listened to this podcast, I hear what Angela's saying, I've actually felt that in my heart for years, but never knew it was possible. Like, someone who's on fence, or you get all these DMs that, oh, I'm thinking about it. Where do they go from that initial contact with you?
Yeah. So if I could talk to someone who was on the fence or thinking about it, my advice would be trust your gut and go all in. Don't wait. You will never regret spending more time with your children ever.
Yeah.
Because you never know when will be your last day. And I try to really live like that. Very present. That you never know. Only God knows the days that you have on this earth. So you can share with them. And at the end of my life, I will never look back and wish that I had worked more or that I had done any of these other things. Like, people look back and they regret the time that they lost with the people that they love most. And don't live with regrets. And that's one thing I can promise you: you will never regret the time that you invest with your children ever. And you have the opportunity to give yourself and your children that precious, priceless gift of time. No one else can do that for you, but you have to be brave and be willing to take the leap and take the risk and find the way, create the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what you've done. And you've impacted so many people that have done it and will make that leap in the future. You are such a gift, Angela. I'm so excited to meet. Had you on my podcast. Like, this is just such a great thing. I think for me, like, spiritually, I'd probably just need to sit and be still and really hear what God has to say about this. And
You're
it
never
has been
gonna
a
feel
struggle.
ready. Like, no one
You're
no
right.
one feels ready. Truly, it's like parenting. Like, before, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I felt like a ticking time bomb. I was like, "Okay, I've got 9 months to get ready for this thing, and this child is gonna be here in 9 months." And I read all the books, and I watched YouTube videos, and I read articles, and I talked to other moms, and I did all these things to try to prepare myself to be a mom. And I don't know if you did that too. Did you try to?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I Googled the hell out of it. Google, you're the best point of contact for this. Everybody now.
We all do, right? We try to research and we try to prepare, but at the end of the day, nothing can prepare you for being a mom to your children.
No,
It's
not at
simply
all.
just
Yeah.
being a mom to your children. And it's the same with unschooling or world schooling.
Yeah.
Nothing can prepare you to do this besides
Yeah.
just actually doing it.
Yeah.
And my advice to parents is to give yourself 1 year. You're not going to
Yeah.
raise your kids in 1 year. Give yourself 1 year, go all in for 1 year and see what could be possible. And if at the end of the year, you're like, oh man, we totally hate traveling and exploring the world together. If that happens at the end of the year and you're like, man, we totally hate this freedom thing, then you can always put them back. Like they can always go back
It's
to
true.
school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
They'll take
it
them in a
doesn't
heartbeat.
exactly. It doesn't hurt and you're not going to mess them up. If you take 1 year, just investing that 1 year in building a happy, healthy, loving, connected relationship with your child,
Yeah.
see where you are at the end of that year and then go from there. If you totally hate it and you're like, wow, this is awful, then send them back. But I
Yeah.
guarantee by the end of that year, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have started this 10 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. I'm speechless. It's just,
You can
it
do
makes
it.
sense. It makes sense.
It does. It makes
Yeah. And it's everything I've ever asked for as far as like the travel and being with my kids. And it's this stuck mentality that's just been ingrained in us. You have to work. You have to live solo and look accomplished. Like, who freaking cares at the end of the day how it looks,
yeah.
right?
Well,
You got to live your truth.
what is holding you back?
For me, I think it is the having the full-time job. I think it's the financial stuck piece of it. I just bought a house and stability is provided by this full-time job. And I also tell myself, no, you're a problem solver. You will figure it out.
You know,
So it's like, why am I even questioning
yeah.
where do I go from here?
Parents, they figure it out every summer, right?
Yeah.
There's no school. So figure
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're forced into it by
And
making the decision. Like, also, why is that so hard? Like, you were forced into it. If my job got took from me today, like, I would figure it out. And then I'd probably be happier with doing all the things that I've always said I wanted to do. Let's get an RV. Let's clear out a bus and create a moving house, like a tiny home on wheels, and just explore the US. That's all I want with my kids because they're grown up. Like, how do I have a 10-year-old? It makes no sense. I know your oldest is 11. It's wait, where did this time go?
I know it
So
goes so
it's
fast.
just wild. It's wild. But thanks for putting me on the spot because I really need to be like, why? Why are you still doing this? Why are you even enrolling them in school? Why are you telling them that they're just gonna walk up the hill to school over there? And what if I said, hey, we're getting in an RV for the next 6 months and I'm gonna teach you about life? Like, I don't think they'd say no.
You can it'd be worth a conversation with them too and see what do they say?
Yeah.
What do they want? Like, it's not just about
Yeah.
parent creating this life for my kids of this is what I want for them,
Yeah.
but like they're a part of that conversation too. Of like when you envision how do you want to spend your life and your time and your days, what does that look like for you? What would you want? And
Yeah.
invite them to like really be a part of that process of creating their life and your life as a collective family unit together.
Yeah.
You can have it all.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so right. I think we have probably said everything that you need to, but if there is like one thing that you can tell the listeners of She Elevate, one piece of truth or advice or something that will change them once they get off this podcast today, what would it be, Angela?
You are capable of creating a life that you love with the people that you love. You can do it. That's
Mic
it.
drop, as my kids would do. They'd be like, Mom, mic drop. I was like, if you drop that thing that I just paid $50 for. Yeah. Okay. That's great. You are capable. You are 100% capable. Awesome. Thank you, Angela, so much. My heart
Pleasure.
is filled. I am just blown away by your passion, your purpose, your impact, all the things that you are doing. And for you taking the time to be on She Elevates, our very first
Pleasure.
episodes. And I'm super excited for
It's
this and
honored to be the
everything.
first.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All of your information will be in the show notes so people can find you. And of course, I'm going to have you all over my socials because I'm just raving about all that you're doing. So
Oh,
thank you,
thank you
Angela.
so much. It's such a
You're
pleasure.
welcome.
And I hope that this podcast blows up and creates such a massive impact in the world with all of the different women that you're going to be interviewing and the stories that they're going to tell. So thank you for
Um,
holding space for for
Oh,
women to share their story.
awesome. Oh, that means so much. Thanks, Angela. I
All
appreciate
right.
you. Have a good day.
You
Take
too.
care. Bye
Bye.
bye. I created something powerful for the woman who's tired of playing small. If you're done surviving and you're ready to rise, this is for you. It's called the She Elevates Blueprint, a 7-day transformational guide to help you reclaim your power, reset your mindset, and redesign your life from the inside out. We're talking confidence, clarity, boundaries, money, love, healing, purpose, every area of your life. Each day, you'll get a journal prompt, an aligned action, an affirmation, and a voice note from me, yours truly. So it feels like I'm right there cheering you on. You're going to feel seen. You're going to feel grounded. And by day 7, you won't even recognize you. If you've been waiting for a sign to elevate your life, this is it. Tap the link, download your free copy of the She Elevates Blueprint, and let's step into your next level together. You're not alone. You're not broken. You're becoming. Let's rise, my queen. Thank you for tuning in to the She Elevates podcast. I hope today's episode poured into you, reminded you of your power, and gave you something to take with you on this journey of elevation. Share it with a friend, your sister, your tribe, because when one of us rises, we all rise. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review. It helps more women find this movement and step into their highest self. Want more? Come hang with me over on Instagram at Liz Rankin Elevates, or join our free She Elevates community on Facebook, where we heal, grow, and glow together. Until next time, remember this: you're not behind, you're not broken, you're becoming. Keep rising, queen. Your next level is already calling.